everyone! Today I wanted to share with you a little flip through of my summer 2023 travel journal. A few of you have asked me to make a little video of this one, so here it is. Before getting started with the little tour of my journal, I wanted to list 5 reasons why I enjoy making a travel journal like this. One is for capturing memories. Of course, photos, videos is a wonderful way to keep memories, but I enjoy putting it on a journal because that way I can write, I can sketch, and I can glue things, and all of those little bits and pieces that I can add to it help me remember and feel the trip and the experiences, the smells, the sights, and the small moments that mattered. There's so much you can add to a little journal that maybe we can't see in a photo or not even on a video clip. Number 2 is a way to make the journey and the experience, the traveling, more meaningful. So, creating this journal helps me slow down and notice those little details that I would otherwise rush by and forget. 3, another reason I like making a journal like this is for staying organized. A travel journal, it doubles kind of like a planner for going back to next time. Maybe I might add some practical details like a packing list or some things I would do differently next time. So it's always helpful to go back and maybe learn from our little mistakes or things that we forgot to bring on the trip. So it's kind of like a little recap to help us improve the next time. Number 4, I would say a journal like this definitely helps boost creativity. It's not just a playful outlet to collect things, tickets and maps and travel papers or little snippets, but it also helps to think and question ourselves, prompt ourselves about things that we wouldn't have thought or given ourselves time for otherwise. And it also boosts my creativity in designing it, putting it together, placing it on the paper, just how it feels good and right for me. I love incorporating colors and doodles and patterns and anything that sparks joy for me in the moment. And lastly, number 5, I would say another benefit is as a keepsake. A travel journal becomes a little souvenir, far more special than anything we could buy. I stopped buying souvenirs when I traveled to different places because I never knew where to put them. But in this way, I can even take a photo of something special about the town or the place we visited. And most of all, we can take a photo of us in it. And how much more special is that as a keepsake? So now moving on to a little flip through of how I put this journal together. So first of all, this is a little notebook, just a 12 spread page notebook. I decided to choose a small notebook so that it's not too overwhelming. And I also decided to make one book for 1 month. That way I was sure to be able to finish it. So this might be a great time for you to get into a travel journal because some of you, at least on the northern hemisphere, have just finished your vacations. So I find it very helpful to already start collecting and getting ideas during the summer, if that's when you take your vacation. But when I come home is when I have a bit more time to delve into it and to create it. So as a first page, this is just very general. It's kind of all the extras that I didn't have space to put anywhere else. I collected a few postcards and glued them in with some masking tape. I have some extra little journal prompts that I didn't have space for that I decided to put here. Some extra photos, and I love this car, so I decided to add it in there. I still have some pockets and things that I didn't even fill up, but that's okay. I think that's what's fun about a journal. Sometimes you'll see blank spaces, and it's all right if it's not all filled up. You'll notice in this journal that I've collected both some postcards, maps, tickets, all kinds of things from our travels, as well as printed out some photos to kind of personalize it. I wanted to see us in this journal. I think that's the most important thing about a journal, is not just the sights and beautiful things around, but it's also remembering that you were there. Of course, we don't always have to have a book or a journal to remember, to keep that memory in our hearts, but it does help and it makes it fun to go back to. I loved using some magazines to cut out letters for the towns that we visited, also cutting out different pictures. And of course, from the brochures and places we went to, I loved to use the ones that were included in there. Then I added some of my own little doodles, some words to depict our travels and experiences, and even a few stickers when I had some space. I think the main thing about this journal is that I wanted it to be personal. I wanted it to show what we did. I wanted to also express a little bit of how we felt. And that's why I included the journal prompts. What was your favorite place to visit and spend time in? What was something out of the ordinary for you on this trip? So we all took time, a few evenings, to recollect some memories and to answer these journal prompts for us. And then, of course, I personalized the rest that my family didn't really want to answer. I answered it for myself. And alongside, I also included some quotes that I loved about travel, about vacation. Traveling is hard. It forces us to trust strangers and to lose all that familiar comfort of home and friends. We are constantly off balance and insecure. But it's great, it's healthy, and we could all do with a little more of it. This kind of showed me the reality of traveling and taking a vacation. There's highs and lows, there's sweets and sours. Life is not meant to be lived in one place. What was a surprising or unexpected gem you stumbled upon? What 5 adjectives came to mind first from your trip? So in case you're curious how to create this journal from scratch, I have a little course on it. I'll link it below. But basically, I just went page to page. I kind of organized all my pictures and memories, photographs, magazines for one place at a time that we went to visit. Sometimes I used the titles from the brochures themselves. I included some little tickets. I also included some things that the town was known for. I think it's nice to have pictures of us there and also some highlights of the town. Other times, when I didn't have a magazine with the title of the city, I cut them out from magazines and I kind of matched the colors with the colors of my page. I've included little pockets to store some journal prompts in, as so. It's always fun to find little surprise pockets here and there. Here as well, I've used a little ticket from a little train ride around town, and I've kept more tickets in it. I can always write and journal something in the back as well. Here's another paper with more journaling prompts. What did you learn about yourself during this trip? What local custom or traditions did you observe or experience? So I didn't answer all the questions. I think there's the freedom of just doing what feels right for you in the moment. Sometimes I've included maps, little ones to show where we are in the country, bigger ones more detailed about the town, little flaps, just because this was a place of destination. So here and there I've added little words to remind myself of things, and then always including the little answers for the journal prompts. Sometimes just adding memories or more quotes. Blessed are the curious, for they shall have adventures. So this was another city that we visited. I added a map there and a postcard on top just to save some space. Another little flap for a question. Here again using magazine cutout letters. And here I wanted to add an extra page on this one, so I just glued in a notebook paper. What is something you would like to try again real soon? What is a moment during your trip that touched you in some way or left an impression? What is something you tried for the first time? So there's still space and room to journal, write things down. Now it's a little bit late, 2 years later, but it's okay. I also love having some space to just focus on those little highlights and key points. Sometimes I like to use background patterns and papers. It blends nicely with my greeneries on the photos. Sometimes here are a few little stickers, some little washi tapes. This is a little card. What was a bit of a challenge during your trip? What did you learn from it? So I love coming back to those key takeaways because that way we can always be reminded for the next time and improve our next trip. How can you incorporate a little of what you've learned into your everyday life? So here was another little town we visited. It's not a bad word. This is the name of a town in France. And we had a wonderful time there. It's a really cute little touristic place. What was an interaction or exchange that stood out to you? Here, adding a little bit of information about a specific museum and some photos as well. I love adding some of those things that we might forget down the line. It's always interesting to look back on what we did, the places we visited, another little day out. So this was for the summer, mainly the month of July. So we did quite a few different little things, few cities and all that. And it doesn't matter if it's far from home. Some of these pages were really far from home and some were close to home. By kind of like remembering it all in 1 month. It shows that we did a lot. We went to a lot of places. We experienced many new things. A few steps that might be helpful when you create your travel journal. This is how I created mine. With a few helpful steps, it helped the process be smooth and more enjoyable. So the first one I would say is collect your material, whether it's photos or magazines or tickets, memorabilia. The next thing is to categorize them. You could categorize them by dates or by places you visited, as an example. 3 would be to place those things on your paper, on your page. So those are the essentials, the materials you collected and the photos. So I will write here cutouts and photos. Picture says it all. Then the next thing I did was include some titles. So that's where I took them from magazines or from the brochures that we collected along the way. Then the next thing is where I included the little question prompts, which made it extra fun and meaningful. And then I collected a few quotes, which is also nice to come back to, especially when you're preparing for your next vacation. And then any extra pictures or stickers that can add some fun and color. And then 8, not forgetting doodles. I really like to give that personal touch. And since I'm an artist, I love to illustrate some of my own things into it. And lastly would be to include all your answers. So whether you do this as a family or with your loved one or just yourself, either it can be a really fun little get-together occasion. We serve some snacks, we put on some music, and we have fun putting it all together. Or if you prefer it for a quiet, relaxing time, just you, both of them can be equally special and fun. And 10, I would say maybe give it a nice cover. I covered it with a map of the place that we visited, and then some color paper, and then some craft paper. So let's just write, making a beautiful cover, something that will be inviting to come back to. And that was it. I hope this was helpful in just giving you a little idea of how maybe you'd like to make a travel journal, if it's the first time you make one, and a few ways of things that you could incorporate into it. And as a little gift, in case it's something that you would like to do, I've included the quotes and the journal prompts and a few little of my personal doodles that you can use in your travel journal if you would like. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to the next video. Bye for now.